Catherine.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Suze. I'll be reading 3 poems. They're pretty short. The first one is called On Watching the Video of His Attack, Frame by Frame. The well-groomed detective who greets us inside tinted gray doors is dwarfed by my 14-year-old brown-skinned son. Our first and hopefully last visit to the station. He's told to leave his skateboard at security. It could be weaponized after all. Will I get it back when we go? He asks me. This board, like Aladdin's carpet, brought this child home to me alive that day. Yeah, you can grab it when we leave. Not if you leave, as the guard seems to wonder. As the white mother of a black boy, I hold my tongue this time. My son will bury me and not the other way around. On the large screen, this is how we become men, becomes little monsters instead, surrounding him, arms and legs frozen in frames, legs in frozen frames, beating his childhood from his lurching frame after frame. And when they throw him under the moving car, stop, frame, again, he survives. As my nails dig into my thighs, and the one who grabbed you there in the blue, who is that? Detective Slick Air asks again. Mom, are you crying? Mom? I leave the room, finally, tears, but they don't belong here. I excuse myself to the hall. If you need me, wave back in, I add with only my eyes. He reads this and softens. We're almost done here, ma'am. If only in God's name that were true.
Wow. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. This one's much lighter.
Beautiful.
A rushing pantoum. Always rushed. Can I have a cuddle? There's no time for a cuddle now. Stop pounding on your brother. Can I have a cuddle? Where are my car keys? Stop pounding on your brother. When does do it differently begin? Where are my car keys? Soon they'll have their own rides. When does do it differently begin? Watching them drive away from me. Soon they'll have their own rides. There's no time for a cuddle now. Watching them drive away from me with a suitcase of everything I didn't have time for.
Sorry,
somebody
needs to mute, please.
You mute
There's
yourself.
a lot. Yeah, here we go. Will you read those last few lines again? I didn't hear them.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We're very informal here.
I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Soon they'll have their own rides. There's no time for a cuddle now. Watching them drive away from me with a suitcase of everything I didn't have time for.
No.
And so now I fast forward in, I change over gears into speaking into existence the mother I wanted to have, and it kind of worked. So this is called Things I'll Pretend My Dying Mother Once Said to Me, and at the end of this poem is a little teeny mini 4-line poem with a slightly different title. Things I'll Pretend My Dying Mother Once Said to Me. Your father and I were thrilled to have a girl. You were just as capable as your brothers, maybe more so. You dress with originality. You can wear your hair like Cyndi Lauper and call yourself Princess Leia. You are beautiful, strong, and clever. You're a skilled soccer player. Of course you were chosen to be the captain. Your leadership and grace carry the team. Don't take on the words oversensitive. It's a gift the way you notice so much. What the coach did to you was a crime, not love. It was not your fault. We should have pressed charges. We should have protected you. We failed. Our divorce has nothing to do with you or your brothers. I will figure it out and I will be okay. Your father loves you and I don't need you to side with me. This had nothing to do with you. Whatever you choose to do, whomever you choose to love, I will support you. You are a treasure. The hardest thing about dying soon will be leaving my only daughter, just as I am learning who you are. I'll never stop being proud of you. You're a beautiful poet, even when you write about me. Things I will say to my mother before she dies. Or, why didn't you tell me you were a poet too? Tu es très belle. Je t'aime de tout mon cœur. My birth was a miracle, and so was yours. Thank you.
Wow.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Catherine.
This is called My North Stars. And this is, I was asked to write this telling of our adoption story, my son's, or how my family came to be. And it is going to be released by Psych Central sometime this month in honor of mental health and motherhood. That's a mouthful. Now I wish there was a pig. Okay. Maybe there is. My North Stars. When I announced my plans to adopt transracially to my family nearly 20 years ago, my mother's reaction was, I don't know if I can hold a Black child. My father and his wife were on board, albeit concerned about me taking on parenthood solo. To my mother, I said, well, I suggest you figure out how you're going to do that if you want to meet your grandchild one day. To my father, I said, I don't know any other way. 3 months after I submitted my adoption home study, Samuel was placed in my arms by his birth mother, Tia, in North Carolina. We agreed on his name from a payphone at an airport. In an airport. During the waiting period, she would call to check in on him daily. One day he was crying nonstop. I told her I thought he missed her. She hung up the phone abruptly. When I had the clear to leave the state, we stopped by on the way to the airport to say goodbye. She took him in her arms as soon as we walked in and left the room. Those 30 seconds were emblematic of parenthood overall. Wait and trust. Tia returned with a letter for me to read on the plane. The visit was way too short and very hard on her and her other kids. I opened the letter on board with 2-week-old Sammy on my lap. The last time I called you, it was to tell you that I had changed my mind and I wanted Sammy back. Then, when you were willing to tell me what you thought was really going on with him, I knew that you were supposed to be his mom. 2 years later, Marcel was conceived with the help of a known donor. We met in a toy store when he helped Sammy reach a toy saxophone and jammed with him using a toy drum. They connected over music. He was Black like Sam and might become a role model, I thought. We became friends. Over coffee and my application to the adoption agency for another child, an offer was made. With the help of a family attorney, an agreement was drawn and a prayer was spoken. Marcel was conceived on the first try. Like open adoption, navigating the known donor world is deep and complicated for everyone. What was supposed to be a no contact until 18 agreement pivoted at the donor's request when Marcel was 4. They visit regularly, but are in contact often. About a year ago, Marcel told me how angry he was that I chose to make a mixed child intentionally, and that I would never understand how impossible it is to not be Black enough or white enough every moment of every day. All I could do was listen. All I could say was knowing that he was the outcome of that selfish act was the only reason I would do it again, given the choice. I was under the impression that I would be a decent solo parent if what I lacked in understanding of single transracial parenting, I could turn to my diverse chosen family for support. We all co-designed a collective approach to raising kids together. We still do. Centering the boys in all of this has been my North Star. Once a dear friend from our small new mothers group half-jokingly said to me, my husband doesn't want me hanging out with you. You make single parenting look preferable to what we got.
That's crazy.
It's true that I was the only one I had to consult about sleep training, best daycare options, or T-ball signups. I was also the only one there when the stomach flu hit and to scream my lungs out at their basketball games. It was I alone who had to manage moving us to another state when the boys needed to live in a place where Blackness was normative and not the exception. Fast forward 17 years, and Sammy calls Tia moms and me mom. He's researching plane tickets to Hawaii to join his family, the family celebration of his papa's life for Thanksgiving. Marcel FaceTimes with his donor during Warrior and Celtics games and has a group of friends who, like him, are all redefining and embracing their own mixed identities, from multiracial homes with single parents, queer parents, guardians, grandparents as primary caretakers, and two-parent homes. Marcel just eclipsed me in height, I noticed during a FaceTime with my mother, who did the work to be able to hold both her grandsons. Sam is opening up the ping pong table in the living room, because we have learned to find our way to the elusive intersection of our very different backgrounds and futures over a good serve, and the one place asking for a redo is almost always a yes.
Beautiful.